Hello and welcome to this short video on sort of equipment to bring and what to pack for a hut-to-hut and a hotel-to-hotel trek in the Alps. So to start off with, what am I going to be wearing on a normal day? Like a pair of sort of lightweight shorts, and then on my top half I'll normally wear a sort of a wicking top. I tend to wear a long sleeve one, lightweight, but also with a hood, just to keep as much sun off as possible. Obviously it very much depends, what sort of skin pigment and things like that you've got, but I'm pretty fair, so keeping as much sun off as possible is a good idea. A normal pair of trekking socks, but nice lightweight ones, is going to be a good idea. And then on my feet, you don't need something as heavyweight as you might use in the British mountains. So a pair of sort of lightweightish boots, almost an approach shoe, but maybe with a bit of an ankle, just to keep stones and things from you don't want those getting in and causing rubs and things like that. But yeah, some pretty lightweight. Obviously, a pair of sort of normal UK hill walking boots is totally appropriate as well. Just maybe a little bit heavier and maybe not quite as comfortable. And then if you're a pole user, then a set of poles is going to be pretty useful. You're looking at potentially 1,000 meters, 1,200, 300 meters of descent on certain days, so something to take a bit of the strain off on the way downhill, but not essential. And then sort of what have I got in my rucksack? Well, first of all, 35 litre rucksack is absolutely more than enough. This is a 35 litre rucksack and isn't full by any stretch of the imagination. So the lighter we can keep our rucksack, obviously, the more enjoyable. So definitely not bigger than 35 litres. If you want to bring a bigger rucksack but not fill it, that's obviously fine. In the top of my rucksack, I've probably got on from the start of the day, but sun hat, yeah, the sun can be pretty strong in the Alps, and a decent set of sort of Cat 3 sunglasses is going to be super helpful. And then don't scrimp on the sun cream, yeah, again dependent on what sort of colouring you've got, but fair skinned, I'm factor 50 plus and reapply it numerous times through the day. Top lid of my rucksack, I've got my wallet, and Rob and I will send you an email just letting you know sort of how much cash you might need to carry. Certain huts won't take debit cards to pay for accommodation, so it's all cash payments. And then obviously having a bit of cash for the little cafes and the buvettes that we might come across to get a drink during the day. Very few of them will be set up for sort of card payments, so having some cash. Like I say, we'll send you an email just giving you a sort of heads up of what sort of amount of cash you might want to carry, because cash line machines are few and far between once you're up in the mountains. And then into the top of my rucksack, so a litre of juice or water would be an absolute minimum, but I'll also carry this is a 3 litre platypus. So on certain days, if we can't fill up water, or it's particularly hot, or a particularly long day, then I'll sometimes take up to 3 litres of fluid. But if I don't need it, it means I can just empty this out and pack it down, so it takes up no room at all. And then obviously my packed lunch. In terms of packed lunches, at the start of the trip, we'll meet the night before and just give you a heads up of what the sort of food arrangements are in terms of lunches, but most huts and hotels will be able to provide us with a packed lunch, a basic packed lunch. So I might take extra snacks or peanuts and chocolate bars and energy bars and that sort of thing, but most hotels and huts will provide us with a sandwich and things like that for each day, so you certainly don't need to carry too much. And then I've got here a little lightweight fleece, so sort of in the mornings before the sun's sort of reaching us, it can sometimes be a little bit chilly, so lightweight fleece, and again in the evenings sitting out on the hut verandas and things, sometimes it's nice to have a little fleece to put on, and obviously if it gets colder during the day, the weather changes. And then I've got also sort of an emergency, unlikely to use it, but pretty important to have, is like a little synthetic sort of jacket, fairly lightweight, but we are crossing coals at 2,700, 3,000 meters. And if the weather does change, it can be chilly. We've had everything from not going below 20 degrees on our trips through to trips that have had sort of a good sort of a dump of snow higher up. So having a layer that you can put on just in case is pretty important. Set of waterproofs. It's not always sunny in the Alps. That's why I'm inside the van doing this little video today. But yeah, a set of waterproofs. Obviously the waterproofs that you use in the UK are going to be absolutely fine. But if you've got a light set, because 9 times out of 10, fingers crossed, they just stay in our rucksack and unused. So sort of pack light, Gore-Tex Active sort of weight is pretty useful. But absolutely no need to run out and buy new waterproofs just for the trip if you've got heavier weight waterproofs. And I'm then very much into sort of extras and things like that. So this little bag has a sort of hat and gloves, lightweight hat and gloves. Yeah, again, just in case the weather changes. If we think, in the build up to the trip, sort of 10 days out, that it might be a little bit chillier, we looked at long range weather forecast. Again, Rob and I will just drop you an email and say, maybe bring a warmer set of gloves and a warmer hat, sort of thing. And then also I've got a head torch in this bag. Little lightweight head torch. The head torch is mainly used for if we've got a very early start, unlikely, or in reality, in the huts, you're getting up to go to the toilet in the evening. It's pretty useful to have a head torch, so it can just be a little lightweight head torch. And then I'm very much into stuff that I would use, at the end of the day in the hotels. So in this bag, I've got my sort of electrical equipment, as it were. I've got a power pack and my cables to charge things, and I'm going to carry an adapter for the huts and the hotels. And in Switzerland you want the little lozenge shaped adapters. The European adapters often don't fit in, so a little lozenge shape that potentially just plugs into a USB is absolutely fine. I'm going to carry my passport and my insurance documentation and things like that at all times. And then the final bag I've got here is my sort of in the hut bag. So I've definitely sort of gone with luxury in this little bag, so you could carry less if you wanted. I've got my wash kit, so yeah, my wash kit is just toothbrush, toothpaste, shampoo, shower gel, that sort of thing, and my little adapter. So yeah, that lozenge shape's pretty important. A little USB. Staying in huts, yeah, a lot of the huts have showers, but they won't provide you with a towel. So a little lightweight pack towel is pretty useful. See, when we're in hotels, they'll provide a towel, so it's a little bit nicer. And then again, if we're in a hut, a little silk sleeping bag liner is really useful as well, or important, because it'll just be rugs and blankets that are reused by everyone. So they ask that everyone carries or brings a sleeping bag liner, and little silk ones are the lightest. And then I've got a pair of trousers. So these potentially, if during the trip, the 5-day trip, 6-day trip, whatever it is, that the weather's going to change, then I can use those on the trail, or I could wear them to dinner in the evenings. And I've got I take a spare pair of socks and a spare pair of pants, and what I tend to carry is, rather than carrying lots of spare clothing, in my wash kit I've got these Life Adventure fabric wash leaves. So you just use one little leaf, so in this tub are 50 leaves, so 50 washes, and you just dissolve it in warm water, and then you can wash your clothes. So what I tend to do is each evening when I get into a hotel, I'll wash my shorts and my top and my socks and my pants just in the basin. Freshens them up. It doesn't clean them super well, but certainly freshens them up enough to be hung out to dry, and then use them the next day. So it saves me having to carry loads of extras. So the only extras I carry is socks and a pair of pants. And then I've also got in here a pair of pyjamas, which could also be used, pyjamas could also be used for, wandering around the hotel and the hut in. So it's basically a t-shirt and a pair of shorts rather than pyjamas as such. And then a real luxury that I might carry here is a pair of slippers. So quite nice to put on when you get into the hotel in the evening. You've taken your boots off and you want something else on your feet. It could be a pair of sliders, sandals, something super lightweight would be useful. In the huts they'll provide what they call hut slippers, which are normally a pair of Crocs or something along those lines. So if it was a more hut to hut trip that we're doing, then you might not need to take those. And also in a hotel you could just wear your barefoot or socks and nothing else on if you're not planning on going outside and you're happy doing that. So these are very much a luxury. And there you go, that's it. That's all my things. I'm trying to keep it, I'm not trying to rough it too much. I've got extras, but I'm also trying to keep my rucksack as light as possible. The lighter the rucksack, the more enjoyable it is going uphill and downhill at the end of the day. So like I say, 35 litres would be the absolute maximum that I'd want to take. And without doubt, the heaviest thing in your rucksack is going to be your fluid for the day out, especially if it's a long day with no chance of refilling. 3 litres is definitely going to be the heaviest thing. If after this video you've got any questions at all, please feel free to get in touch with Rob and myself, and we'll do our very best to help you along the way. Look forward to trekking in the Alps with you, enjoying the amazing views and vistas that the European Alps has to offer. Thanks very much.